Just moments ago, my dear child, the world around you seemed so calm and quiet, like the gentle hush before a soft rain falls. But in that peace, something shattered it all. A single gunshot rang out, sharp and sudden, cutting through the air like a knife through cloth. One bullet flew true, and in an instant it ended a life. Not with a whisper or a sigh, but with a thud that echoed in the emptiness. You might think that what came next was a wave of deep sadness, a heavy sorrow that wraps around the heart like a thick fog. But no, my child, it wasn't just grief that followed. It was a storm of wild confusion, a whirlwind of fear and shouts that filled the streets. People ran, voices cried out, and the air grew thick with the weight of what had happened. Now, picture the one who pulled that trigger, the shooter. They didn't stand there with a smile of pride, patting themselves on the back for a job well done. They didn't cheer or feel that rush of power some might expect from such a dark deed. Instead, they froze right there in the shadows, their bodies stiff like a statue caught in the wrong moment. Their breath came in short, ragged gasps, like someone who had just run a long race and couldn't catch the wind. Panic clawed at their chest, squeezing tight. Why? Because in that split second after the shot, they realized the terrible truth. They had made a huge, unforgivable mistake. The person who fell to the ground, lifeless and still, wasn't the one they had planned to hit. It was all wrong. The bullet had found the wrong heart. And here's the part that pulls you right into the center of this story, my child. The real target, the one they meant to take down with cold precision, is someone so very close to you. Someone whose name is carved deep into your heart, like words etched in stone that time can't erase. Their voice is the one that plays in your mind during those quiet evenings when the day winds down and your thoughts wander. It's the sound that brings comfort, like a warm blanket on a chilly night. Their presence? Oh, it's the steady anchor that keeps your world from spinning out of control when storms rage around you. You know who I mean, that person whose smile can light up your darkest day, whose hand in yours feels like safety itself. This shot, this mistake, it's all tangled up with you. It's not some far-off tale from the news. It's woven into the fabric of your own life. But wait, my child, this isn't where the danger stops. It's not the final chapter in this shadowy plan. The shooter still clutches that crumpled list in their trembling hand, scribbled with names hidden in the dim light. 2 more names wait there, each one connected to you by threads of love and memory that run deep and strong. Why does all this darkness circle back to you? Why are you the quiet heart at the middle of this web of threats? I know these questions stir up a storm inside you. Fear, wonder, maybe even a spark of anger. But hold on tight to my words. Stay right here with me as I peel back the layers of this truth, one careful step at a time. We'll walk through it together, slowly and surely, until every hidden corner is brought into the light. No secrets left in the dark. No shadows left to whisper lies. Let me take you back now, my child, to just 1 hour before that fateful shot pierced the air. The shooter didn't stumble into this by accident or show up late like someone running behind schedule. No, they arrived early, with a heart as cold as winter stone and a purpose sharp as a blade. Their car eased into a narrow alleyway, the kind that's tucked away from prying eyes, where the walls lean close and the light barely reaches. The engine purred to a stop, soft and silent, and they switched off the headlights, plunging everything into deep black. This wasn't a place to park and daydream or scroll through a phone. This was preparation, deliberate and chilling. They reached into the back seat and pulled out a black case, the kind that clicks open with a snap that echoes like a warning. Inside lay a rifle, long and sleek, its barrel gleaming faintly even in the low light, a tool built for death, cold and unfeeling. With steady hands that hid the storm inside, the shooter began their ritual. They stepped out into the cool night air, feeling the slight breeze brush their face like a ghost's touch. They checked the wind first, holding up a small piece of cloth to see how it danced, gauging every whisper of air that might nudge the bullet off course. Then the distance. They paced it out in their mind, eyes squinting down the alley toward the open street where their prey would soon appear. The angle came next, tilting their head, adjusting their stance until everything aligned just so, like pieces of a puzzle snapping into place. Every tiny detail mattered. The height of the rooftop they climbed to for a better view, the way the shadows played across the ground, the faint hum of distant traffic that might mask the shot. In their head, they ran through it all again and again, load the chamber with a quiet click, settle the stock against their shoulder, aim through the scope with eyes narrowed to slits, take a slow, deep breath to steady the racing pulse, and then fire. It was a dance they had practiced in their dreams, a deadly rhythm meant to end without a trace. Through that scope, the world narrowed to a tunnel of clarity. There, the figure emerged from the glow of a street lamp, walking with a familiar rhythm. Same coat draped over broad shoulders, same confident stride that ate up the sidewalk, same build that matched the grainy photo they'd studied 100 times. It was perfect, or so they thought. The shooter tracked every step, heart pounding but hands rock steady, waiting for that one flawless beat. The figure paused for a moment, maybe to check their phone or tie a shoelace, and in that hesitation, the crosshairs locked true. The world held its breath. A muffled crack split the silence. The suppressor did its job, turning the roar into a whisper, and the figure crumpled like a puppet with cut strings, hitting the pavement with a dull echo that seemed to vibrate through the night. For just a heartbeat, a flash of triumph lit the shooter's eyes, hot and fierce, like the spark of a match in the dark. They had done it, clean, quick, as planned. But then, as the echo faded, something twisted inside them. Dread crept in like icy fingers, squeezing their throat. They lowered the rifle slowly, staring through the scope at the still form below. Details sharpened in the glass. The way the coat hung wrong now, the angle of the fall that didn't quite match. No, this couldn't be. They knew it deep in their gut. It wasn't the right person. The face they glimpsed in the lamplight wasn't the one from the orders. They'd been tricked, led like a fool down a blind path. Panic bloomed full now, hot sweat breaking on their skin despite the chill air. They packed up in a frenzy, the case slamming shut too loud, and slipped back into the night, heart hammering with the weight of failure. This wasn't some sloppy error, my child, a slip of the finger or a gust of wind gone wrong. No, it was a trap, woven with care and cunning, set long before the rifle ever gleamed in the moonlight. The one who fell wasn't the true mark, the soul they hunted with such venom. It was a stand-in, a clever shadow meant to draw the fire and reveal the hand behind the gun. And who crafted this clever snare? Who turned the tables on the darkness with a move as swift as thought? The answer will touch something deep in your spirit, stir the embers of wonder and gratitude. But it's the truth you must hold close, like a lantern in the fog. The body that slumped to the cold ground that night? It wasn't flesh and bone like you, or I might imagine. It was something far more wondrous, an angel, dispatched from the halls of heaven itself, on a mission of mercy and might. Yes, my child, an angel wrapped in the guise of human skin, walking with the exact steps, the same sway and rhythm as the one the shooter sought to destroy. I sent that heavenly messenger, not on a whim or by some twist of fate, but with purpose as clear as dawn light breaking over the hills. I saw the enemy's plot unfolding long before the bullet was chambered, before the scope was sighted. My eyes pierce every shadow, know every whisper of harm before it forms. So I moved first, quicker than lightning, placing my guardian angel right there, in that precise spot, at that exact tick of the clock, to catch the lead meant for the one you cherish most. That fall you might have heard about in hushed tones or seen flickering on a screen. It wasn't defeat. It wasn't a page torn from your story in sorrow. It was victory, pure and radiant, a shield of pure light flung up against the creeping tide of evil. Heaven's warrior took the hit, dissolving back to spirit in a breath, leaving no trace but the enemy's confusion. And why? Because I guard my own with fierce love. As the words in Psalm 91 verse 1 remind us, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." That's the promise I live by, the vow I make to you. I command my angels to watch over you, to stand between you and every storm that brews. What you glimpsed in that moment, my child, was grace in action, an angel stepping boldly into the jaws of death, borrowing the face and form of your loved one to turn away the blade. But oh, my sweet child, don't let your guard down just yet. The shooter's dark errand isn't finished. It's merely stumbled. That list they carry, stained with ink and malice, still bears 3 names, each one a thread pulling taut back to you, each a life that echoes in your days. The first, we know, was shielded by wings unseen. But 2 more linger, marked for harm, bound to you by bonds that run deeper than blood or time. Who are these souls? Why have they been chosen for this peril? And how does every arrow of danger find its way back to your door? Let me lead you further into this tale, hand in hand, as we uncover the why and the how, layer by gentle layer. Start with that first name, the one heaven wrapped in armor today. This is someone who holds a special place in the warm corners of your heart, a presence that's as familiar as your own shadow on a sunny afternoon. You've shared laughter with them until your sides ached, those belly-deep chuckles that chase away the clouds. You've bowed your heads together in prayer, words tumbling out like river stones, smooth and honest. And yes, perhaps you've shed tears side by side, those quiet ones that come when words fail and only silence understands. Their soul carries weights you might only glimpse in passing, a hidden worry, a private ache, but their life stands as a solid cornerstone in yours, unshakable and true. Let me paint a picture for you, my child, so you can see them clear as day. Maybe it's the parent who cradled you through those endless nights when sleep wouldn't come, their arms a fortress against the big, scary world that loomed outside your window. Remember how their heartbeat was a steady drum under your ear, lulling you back to dreams? Or perhaps it's the friend who stayed when the crowd thinned, who planted their feet firm beside you when doubts tried to pull you under. Their loyalty shone like a lantern in your stormiest hours, like that afternoon when everything crumbled and you felt utterly alone, but they appeared at your door with a cup of tea and an ear that listened without judging, their eyes saying, "I'm here, and that's enough." Their presence has been that quiet strength you lean on without always noticing, a gentle light that warms you from the inside out. It's the kind you need most on days when your own flame flickers low. Think of the times they've lifted you with a simple hug or a shared joke that turned your frown upside down. If that bullet had flown true, striking their heart instead of heaven's stand-in, it would have ripped a hole in your world, a gaping wound that echoed with what-ifs and whys, scars that tugged with every breath. The grief would have settled heavy, coloring your joys gray. That's why I wouldn't, let it happen. That's why my angels stood tall in their place, absorbing the storm meant for them. I bar the door to sorrow at your home, my child. No tear falls without purpose, and no loss claims what I've called mine. Yet the shadow lingers, doesn't it? The danger hasn't packed up and left town. Those 2 remaining names on the list, they're linked to the first by invisible cords of family, of shared stories around the dinner table, of love that multiplies like sunlight on water. The enemy isn't hunting single sparks. They're after the whole fire, the connections that bind you, the ties that give your life its rich, unbreakable weave. They aim to snip those threads one by one, unraveling the tapestry until you're left with frayed edges and a chill wind blowing through. And you, my precious one, sit at the very core of it all, the heart from which every strand extends. Why you? Ah, that's the question that burns bright. Because the darkness spots your light from afar, my child, a glow that's steady and true, born of faith that doesn't flicker, purpose that pulls you forward like a river to the sea. They see the way you rise after falls, the kindness you spill like water from a full cup. Your very existence challenges their gloom. It whispers of a greater power, a love that outshines their hate. So they plot to dim you, to crack the foundation until the whole structure sways. But listen close. This isn't a tale meant to frighten you into hiding. It's a song of safeguarding, a declaration that while they scheme in hidden corners, I orchestrate in the open sky. While their whispers carry threats, I've already dispatched my messengers, angels with eyes like eagles and swords forged in eternal fire. Their watch never sleeps. Their guard never falters. Support us by sending us super thanks from $20 to $100. Folded hands sparkles. Your support helps Archangel Protection continue creating valuable content. That shooter's list? It will wither like paper in flame. Their careful aims will scatter like leaves in the wind. What they plotted to shatter will stand taller, a living witness to the strength that flows from me. As Isaiah 54 verse 17 proclaims so boldly, "No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper." Those words aren't empty echoes. They're a shield over you and every soul you hold close. The bullet that veered wasn't a lucky fluke or a random breeze. It was my hand, gentle yet firm, redirecting the path. The life pulled from the brink. Not chance's whim, but my deliberate choice. And this very message unfolding in your heart right now? It's the clearest sign yet that my eyes are on you, my fight is yours, my pen still scratches across the pages of your unfolding story. Let's journey even further back, my child, to the roots of this enmity, to the hour when the shadows first fixed their gaze on you. Long before the rifle's cold metal kissed the shooter's palm, the darkness had taken notice. They saw the hope you cradle like a fragile bird, even on days when your arms ache from weariness. Those times when pain pressed close, like thorns under skin, but you smiled anyway. Remember that morning after a hard rejection, when doors slammed and voices turned cold, yet you dusted off and stepped forward with chin lifted? They watched that, and it stung them. They saw the love you pour out freely, even when your own cup runs low. Like that evening you spotted a stranger huddled on the bench, shoulders slumped under invisible weights, and you sat down, offering your last few coins and a story from your own struggles to say, "You're not as alone as you feel." Your heart didn't hesitate. It overflowed. Or those nights when doubt crept in like fog under the door, questions swirling. Why this trial? Why that silence? But you knelt anyway, words spilling in prayer, raw and real, reaching up like hands toward the stars. They heard those cries, my child, and trembled because they knew heaven bends low to answer. And the people you uplift? Oh, they saw that too, the quiet ways you build bridges. A kind word tossed to a co-worker whose eyes were dull with exhaustion, turning their shift from drudgery to something bearable. A hand extended to a neighbor wrestling boxes in the rain, sharing the load, and a laugh about slippery cardboard. A prayer breathed for a friend across town, unseen but felt, shifting their day from grey to gold. Your dreams, those tender shoots you water in secret, writing lines in a journal, sketching ideas that dance in your mind, they nurture a strength you sometimes forget you have. The enemy glimpsed all this, the resilience that bends but never breaks, the light that draws others near. They didn't choose those names lightly. They picked the ones laced to you, thinking if they toppled them like dominoes, you'd tumble too, faith cracking, hope spilling out. But they overlooked the greatest truth, the one that mocks their every move. I am with you, always and unyieldingly. I've walked your path since the first spark of you flickered in eternity, before your first cry pierced the air. Before their whispers hatched in hidden lairs, I'd already scripted the triumph, inked the endings where light prevails. Every name scrawled on that list, they're etched first on my palms, held safe in the curve of my care. The shooter struts with false power, but it's smoke, thin and fleeting. I flipped their snare inside out, turning hunter to hunted, plot to peril. Their web tangles their own feet now, while my design blooms wide and free. Imagine it unfolding, my child, The shooter, hunkered in some dim hideout, wipes sweat from their brow and steals for the next strike. They creep toward the second name, rifle slung like a promise of pain, focus laser-sharp despite the knot of fear in their gut. The target appears, unwitting, in the glow of a shop window, laughing with a passer-by, coat flapping in the breeze. The shooter perches high, breath held, finger hovering. But just as the trigger bites, a street lamp flickers to life unbidden, its beams slashing across their vision like a sword of sun. Blinded for that crucial blink, the shot cracks wild, the bullet kissing brick instead of flesh, ricocheting harmlessly into the night. They slump back, cursing under breath, hands shaking as if gripped by winter's chill. Deep down they sense it, the unraveling, the force greater than their will. Another dusk, they try again, shadows their ally. The rifle gleams as they sight the mark strolling a quiet path, leaves crunching soft underfoot. All lines up, wind still, distance true. But midway through the breath, the bolt jams, a click, a grind, metal seizing as if frozen by an invisible hand. No shot fires. Only frustration boils over. They wrench at it futilely, minutes ticking away as opportunity slips like sand. Or picture a rainy evening, target huddled under an umbrella, steps hurried homeward. Shooter waits in the downpour, soaked and seething. Pull the trigger, and nothing. A phone buzzes insistent in their pocket, a call from nowhere, voice on the line pulling them from the moment. Focus shatters. They bolt, mission aborted, the ringtone mocking their retreat. One more scene. Twilight deepens, fog rolling thick from the river like a living veil. The third name wanders the mist-shrouded park, thoughts elsewhere. Shooter peers through the haze, scope fogging despite wipes. The world blurs to ghosts. No clear line, no steady aim. They wait, curse, wait again, but the shroud holds fast, target vanishing into white. Defeat tastes bitter as they slink away, list clutched like a curse. See, my child. My angels labor tirelessly, bending the world to mercy. Lights that flare, mechanisms that fail, calls that interrupt, mists that conceal. Their weapons crumble to rust. Their paths lead to dead ends. What they forge for ruin, I refashion for rescue. Now, let's linger on those two names still shadowed by the list, each a gem in your crown, vital and irreplaceable. The second, this one is your steady rock, the quiet pillar you rest against when winds howl. Their strength flows subtle, like roots anchoring a tree through gales. They're even when your eyes skip past. Maybe it's the friend who joined you in wordless vigil, that long night when heartache sat heavy and talk felt too frail. They simply stayed, hand on yours, presence a balm deeper than any spoken fix. Recall the coffee steam rising between you as fears poured out like dark syrup, lost job, frayed dreams, and they met your gaze steady. You are enough, just as you stand. The pieces will find their way. Hope rekindled in their quiet certainty, a spark fanned to flame. Or it could be the mentor whose sight pierced your self-doubt, spotting gold where you saw dust. Their counsel cut through storms like a beam from a lighthouse. After that blow of unemployment, papers scattered like fallen leaves, they sat you down. Your worth isn't chained to a title or a check stub. It's woven in who you are, deep and divine. Remember the prayer they offered then, voices twining like vines, yours quivering like a leaf in breeze while theirs held firm as oak. Or the failure that stung sharp. A project crumbled, confidence cracked, and they leaned in, words like cool rain. Rise from this, it's soil for stronger growth. Their faith has been your scaffold, wisdom your map through mazes. The enemy spies this anchor and snarls, plotting to sever it, leaving you adrift on choppy seas. But I've ringed them round with ramparts unseen. Envision an angel at their elbow, blade agleam in moonlight, gaze vigilant as a hawk's, flames licking at their feet in a circle none may breach. No shadow touches them. I've sealed them for seasons yet to bloom. The third name sings a different note, youthful, fresh, a bud unfurling in morning dew. Their light dawns soft but sure, purpose stirring like a stream finding its course. Perhaps a sibling, small feet pattering to your side with tails wild and wondrous, eyes wide as worlds. Their giggle erupts like fireworks at that family gathering, tag game turning chaos to joy, chase through grass, breathless hilarity binding you all in threads of delight. Or a child whose queries crack open your soul anew. What's the biggest dream you've ever chased? And in answering, you glimpse your own path clearer, heart tugged toward forgotten stars. Maybe a young friend under your wing, aspirations fluttering like new wings. They confide over sketches or songs. I want to paint stories that heal, and in their fire you see echoes of your younger self, passions reawakened. Their potential flickers small now, a candle against vast night, but oh, the blaze it promises. The enemy scents this flame and lunges to snuff it, fearing how it softens your edges, stirs you to tenderness, urges you toward your best. They know this soul's spark mirrors yours, keeps hope alive in you both. Yet I've draped them in down unyielding. Picture an angel's pinions spread wide overhead, a vaulted shelter vast as sky, impervious to arrow or storm. No dart finds mark. Their glow swells, story scribes itself in gold. You'll witness it, my child. Their eyes a mirror to your own, joy doubled in the sharing. And you, at the eye of this tempest, why do tempests whirl round you? Not for frailty, but for the fortress you are. Your faith burns steady, a hearth fire the gales can't quench. Love from you cascades boundless, a river carving canyons of grace. Resilience cloaks you like mail, valleys traversed, peaks scaled. Recall the goodbye that gutted you, final breath of a cherished one slipping away, room thick with unspoken aches? Or betrayal's blade, trusted words twisting to poison, like a confidant's turn that echoed hollow? Seasons of sludge, steps mired, bills stacking like bricks, diagnosis dropping like stone, fear coiling tight. Yet you pressed on, choosing pardon over poison, that grudge released after years' grip, freedom tasting sweet as spring. Hope over hollow, prayers wept in pillow-damp nights, my ear attuned to each. Love over lock, neighbor aided amid your own tempests, hand extended despite hollow pockets. You've hoisted others too. Co-workers' slump met with mirth that mended, friends' plea with petition that pierced heaven, tale shared in circle that steeled another's stride. The darkness quakes at this ripple, your light a rebuke. They don't merely maim kin, they mine your moorings, sowing suspicion's seeds, fear's thorns. But hush that tremor, fear's not your inheritance. As 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 assures, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Their clamor roars, my quiet thunders greater. Blades keen, my bulwark unbreakable. I tread your trail, breath to breath, pulse to pulse. When anxiety clutches, those vigils where tomorrow's shadow loomed, bills unpaid, needs unmet, I'm the murmur of calm, threading peace through panic. Nights endless, loss a thief of slumber, I'm the glow at window's edge, chasing chill. Futures fogged, a goal grasped then gone, like sand sifting, I'm the compass true, feet firm on hidden ledges. My nearness endures, no ebb or wane. Loads lighten not by less, but by lift, burdens shared, yoke eased. Not spectator afar, I'm woven in, closer than vein to blood. Psalm 23 verse 4 sings it, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Every instant, ordeal, drop, I'm there, unwavering. Here the narrative bends, my child, from peril to power. That roster, rifle, ruse, they pale before my momentum. In vision, shooter, frayed now, stalks the second soul, desperation's edge honing hate. Target ambles market lane, baskets swinging light. Perch taken, sight set, but throng surges sudden, my orchestration, vendors hawking, laughter layering loud. Concentration cracks, shot stifled, crowd a moat unfordable. Pivot to third. Gloaming claims the green, young forms skipping ropes rhythm. Shooter scopes from bow, but heavens rumble, storm summons swift, deluge drenching, lightning lancing doubt. They scramble, sodden, scheme soaked through. Yet another bid, avian arrow streaks scope's path, wing beat blurring bull's-eye. Eve's hush, mist mantles mark, ethereal shroud swallowing shape. Palms slick, parchment pulped in fist, mutterings mordant, defeat's dirge dawns as dominion draws nigh. Angels accelerate, arsenal to ash. Targets untouched, ties tensile, you unbowed. Ascent awaits, stature surpassing summits scaled. Not mere warding, elevation. Fetters fracturing, fears forge, dubieties drag, anguishes anchor. That mire of stagnation, globe's girth on spine, perhaps pink slips punch or perfidy's pierce, ally absconded, dissolves. That ballast buoyant now. Barriers buckle, visions veiled, like vocation's vista or veins vow ruptured. Queries quelled, sufficiency's spectre. Trails treble open, telos trail, benediction's byway, byways beyond blueprint. Auguries arrive unbidden, vocation's vault aligned ardent, nexus novel unlocking, rift repaired radiant, craft kindled, quill's quest or canvas call. Liaisons latent, portals passive, they part now. Ceilings cusp, commencements cusp. Delve deeper, foe's foulness predates pull, ignited at your incandescence's inception. Absolution's act, rancor's relinquishment, ripples radiant. Or orison's outpour, saline slick, resolve reborn at reveille. Benignity's blink, repast rendered neighbor ward, clasp in corridor clinical, colloquy crisis-born transformative. Foe flinched at fervor's flare, narrative's nerve, fortitude's font. Kin's crux, cleave to core. But calculus heirs, calculus divine. Antecedents absolute, preformations plot, preplots predestined prevail. Rosters runes, my registry. Shooter savors sovereignty spurious, scribe supreme am I, snares snapback, quarry quartered. Lairs lurk, ledger limp, effacement ethereal. Scopes smear, sinews shiver, sureties sunder. Angels advance, alacrity's apex. Deeper to second, bulwark benevolent, intercession incognito, interstices sentinel. That trill timely, tempest's toll, timber's truce. Or vigil's vow, void's voidance post-plunge. Creed's cradle, council's cleave. Foe's fury, fixture fortified, seraph sentinel, steel sheen, scrutiny's spear, pyre's perimeter. Purpose's province, pristine. Third's timbre, neophyte's nimbus, nubile snub. Kin's kinetic, narrative's nucleus, merriment's meteor, outing's outburst. Or novice's nudge, reverie's rouse, aspiration's apex, introspection's ignition. Flame's fledgling, foe's fumigation foiled. Incentive's inciter, lenity's lodestar, amelioration's agent. Aegis aloft, pinion's pavilion, impenetrable. Luminosity's leap, legacy's leaf. Witness, wonder woven. You, nexus of fray, not flaw's fault, fortitude's flare. Creed's conflagration unquenched, amity's avalanche unarrested, optimism's orb undimmed. Periphery's ploy, perdition's prelude, preclude proclaimed. John 16 verse 33. In the world ye have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. Overarch, overawe, escort eternal. Phobia's susurrus, sovereign's shout. Gloom's grip, gleams gale, ambiguities abyss, arbitrage assured, constancy's covenant, carouser's crest, cataclysm's chasm, proximity profound, palpitations peer. Romans 8 verse 31. If God is for us, who can be against us? Null, my nestling, none. Roster's rubble, shooter, stark, sally's final. Second sojourn, squall's summons, cataract's cloak, clangor's quake. Third's tryst, tumult's tide, phalanx's fawn, pinion's ploy. Avian's arc, aurora's alias. Fog's filigree, fist's flail, falter's fugue, potency's pincer. Stratagem's stutter, sovereignty's surge. Not subsistence, superfluity. Foe's fracture, framework's forge. Manacles melt, mire's mass, mishaps maul, miscreants mar. Or dubiety's dirge, adequacy's ash. Absolution's aurora. Ramparts raise, reveries remote, romance's rupture. Nebula's nimbus lifts. Novelty's nexus, narrative's nerve, nectar's node, nomad's nirvana. Portent's parade, passion's podium, portal's prism, panacea's pact, palate's pulse. Affinity's afterglow, archway's admittance, actuality's apex. Limitation's ledge, launchpad's lip. Vow's vault, venom's voidance, rifle's recoil, ruser's recant, trepidation's tame. Kin's kindle, coruscation's crown. Juncture's jubilee, adversary's annals to anthem, anticipation's arc, adherence's adamant. Psalm 27 verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? None. Nestling, none. Stance steadfast. Phobia's pilfer. Peace's preserve. Adversary's anthem. Audition's apex mine. Constancy's clasp. Contumely's crest. Cataract's core. Conquest's cord. Heaviness hall. Harbour's hoist. Nocturne's nadir. Noctiluca's nudge. Vicissitude's vortex. Vertex's vow. Verdict's vigil. Vesper's valor. Solitude's spectre. Sovereign's symphony. Deuteronomy 31 verse 6. Be strong and of good courage, do not fear nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Psalm 46 verse 1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Covenant carved, child. Proclamation's pinnacle, prominence promised, progeny preserved, plots perdition. Amidst, majesty manifests. Fidelity's forge. Freights forswear, freight I fathom, frail not yours. Narratives nascent, not nadir. Quills quiver, query by query. And so, my beloved child, as the echoes of that gunshot fade into the vastness of my eternal care, remember this: the shadows that sought to swallow your light have been scattered like mist before the sun. The list that once loomed like a sentence of doom now lies in tatters, its threats turned to dust by the breath of heaven. You and those woven into your heart, your anchors, your sparks, your quiet strengths, stand taller today, bathed in a peace that no storm can steal. This isn't merely survival. It's a symphony of the soul, rising in notes of unshakable trust and boundless tomorrow. Walk forward, then, with steps light and sure, for every path before you is lined with my promises. Every whisper of wind carries my song. You are held, you are seen, you are mine, forever and always. Rest in that truth, and let it bloom within you like a garden in spring. If this message touched your heart and stirred your spirit, my dear one, please like and subscribe for more words of comfort, guidance, and divine encouragement. Your support means the world, helping spread this light to others walking through their own shadows. With all my love, wrapped around you like the warmest embrace, stay blessed, stay faithful, and know you're cherished beyond measure.